Welcome into another edition of Mix in a Water Monday, folks. I am Mike Yuba, and joining us this week is former Gamecock quarterback Stephen Garcia, a man who probably doesn't mix in any waters. Never mind mixing in a water. Stephen, how you doing?
Good, man. How you doing?
I'm good. And, shoot, I knew you're going to probably have a drink with you, right? Yeah,
Hold on. Let's see if you can hear it. Ah.
of
Hey,
course.
Perry Shannon.
I'll,
Hey,
I'll,
good
I'll I'll
talk.
have, I'll have one with you just because I'm
It is
interviewing
Sunday
you
here.
and you're the only person, like I said, that probably doesn't mix in a water. So with that all being said, probably don't need to mix too many waters in today with what we saw this past weekend from the Gamecocks, just a tremendous performance against Auburn. And with that all being said, for the first time since 2018, they're bowl eligible. Stephen, just looking at this past game first, what did you see from this team? I mean, this is an Auburn team that, they've been going through their ups and downs, but at the same time, too, they're still a very good team.
Yeah, man. From the beginning of the year to like now, it looks like they are legit having fun, and that's what Coach Beamer was all about. When he was coaching with me, and I mean, they look like they look like they're enjoying what they're doing, and they're having a great time, and people are flying around, and talking shit, man, and that's what they got to do, and it's working for them, and hopefully we can do it, next weekend as well.
They didn't talk about it publicly, but I mean, a guy like Mike Bobo, the situation that he was in, he left, he goes to Auburn. As a former player, you've gone through it before. You've gone up against other coaches that you've played for. How much do you think that gave them some extra motivation, knowing that, hey, this is a guy that left us to go coach at another school that he thinks is better, and now he's coming back into our place?
I, Me personally, I could care less whether these guys do or not. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I would think that for a guy to leave them and go to somewhere else, and you kind of go in there and beat their ass, I think that it's definitely a nice little touch. But as far as like extra motivation, I don't think that has any factor in anybody's mind. Just to be completely honest with you.
They were able to get things going last night. Was the offense the offense of, the early 2010 period when you guys were there? No. But at the same time, too, they were able to at least take some steps forward. You've seen this team all season. I know you and I, we've talked about it before as the year's gone on. What do you think has been holding them back when you just look at the big picture? And what do you think was the difference, not just last night, but of course, what you saw against Florida as well?
Truth be told, man, I think it's just the lack of consistency as far as who the hell is going to be throwing the ball. I mean, that's just call it like you see it. You have four or five different guys, calling plays, and nobody really knows each other. It's Coach Beamer's first year and Coach Satterfield's first time, doing this as well in the SEC. I mean, I don't really know that they weren't. I don't want to say they weren't comfortable. They didn't trust each other as much as they should, or as they normally would. But I feel like they're definitely getting on the same page now, and they're starting to the snowball effect is starting happening.
From a quarterback standpoint, Jason Brown, it just looked like it was a night and day in comparison to last week against Missouri. I know you are someone, especially you do so many quarterback training sessions and spinning out. I mean, that was something that you were extremely good at. They had tape on him, Missouri. They were able to figure out what he wanted to do. And it seemed like they just said, hey, you want to beat us, stay in the pocket. How challenging is that, number one? And how do you kind of, knowing that that's a big part of his game, and I know it's a big part of your game, how do you try to fix that so you're able to go out there, step up in the pocket? Is that more of a trust thing? Is that more just going back and just saying, hey, look, it's just not going to work here every single time?
It's a combination of both things, and that was my game plan, but all of that was never designed. Just to be honest with you, Coach Bird despised me running the ball. Like, he absolutely hated it. And after I got done playing, then you see Connor running around like a freaking chicken with his head cut off, and making plays. And that was Connor's game, and he was damn good at it, and it was very successful at it. And I wish Coach Bird would have let me do that a little bit more. But it is what it is, and I just think that having Brown's ability to run out the pocket and make plays downfield, because one thing he does do well, extremely well, is he gets out of the pocket and his eyes are always downfield. It's never I'm going to run first, throw second, and I think that helps him a lot, as you can see, his ability to over the last couple of weeks of him playing and starting. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think that he's kind of gaining the trust of his teammates. Everybody will say publicly that, yeah, we always trusted him and this and that. Like, no, that's really not the case. Like, I don't think, and I love Cliff to death, man. I don't think that if I went down and Connor went down, that, and then Cliff is starting against Auburn, they're gonna be like, oh yeah, Cliff, we got you, bro, we got you. Like, no, that's not realistic. Cliff, I know you're listening to this, man. I love you to death, man, but let's just call it how you see it. Call it like it is.
And for Jason,
Cheers, brother.
and for Jason to be ready, though, I mean, you've been in situations, whether it be just being the backup for a game or whatever the situation may be. This guy comes in and then he gets essentially put in the third quarterback spot, but he stayed ready. What have you seen from him? I know you mentioned about the eyes, but what have you seen from him in just terms of playing in that first game against Florida to last week until this past weekend's game? And what have you been, pleased with what he's been able to do?
Most impressed is his confidence. Whether he throws a bad ball or whether he throws a great ball, he's confident regardless, and that's literally 90% of the game. I mean, you got to have a little talent, but if you think you suck, you will suck. If you think you're Brett Favre or Tom Brady, I mean, you will be that guy. And just seeing him against Florida and the way he dominated that game. I mean, let's be honest, everybody's kind of dominated Florida since then, as far as defensively or offensively. But yeah, I mean, just seeing him throwing the ball downfield and just kind of commanding the huddle, kind of commanding the sideline. That's what you want to see as a coach, as a teammate, and everything else as a fan, really. So I mean, I'm more impressed with that than anything else.
It's obviously Clemson week. You've gone through it so many times. What is that week like for someone that is a player? Because we understand it from a fan perspective, we understand it from a media's perspective on the outside of it. Is it truly just another game, or is that something that you guys know, like, hey, this is Clemson week?
I mean, it was just another game. And truth be told, I had no idea where the hell Clemson was, even on a map, before I went to South Carolina. I couldn't care less where the hell they were. And as being in Columbia, like, you could just tell that how much it meant to the fans of Columbia, how much it meant to Gamecock fans. Like, to hell with Clemson. I don't care if you guys beat any other team. I don't care if you guys win the SEC East. I don't care if you win anything. And it doesn't matter. Just beat Clemson and our seasons of success. And I mean, it is one of the best rivalries in sports as far as I'm concerned. And this is a huge week, and hopefully, man, I know we're kind of teetering on the same line right now, and we got to get back on top, man. We struggled for too long against them, and it's time to turn the damn ship around.
Last thing I'll ask you is South Carolina becoming bowl eligible. Shane Beamer, first year, 6 wins, something that if you go back to the last 2 years, I mean, that's 6 wins combined the last 2 seasons before he got here. I know you were a big advocate of his, and when he got here, you were just the praise you gave him, being able to work with him, when you were a player there. And of course, he was an assistant coach. What can you say about what he has been able to accomplish so far? And what would you tell people that maybe, are still, for whatever reason, they're iffy about whether or not they should buy into the hype right now, or if this is going to be, one of those things that is consistent moving forward?
For the people that think it's iffy, I don't know what the hell they're thinking, to be honest with you. If you can't tell the difference between this year and the last couple of years, and I love Coach Muschamp. I'm a huge fan of Coach Muschamp. It is night and day different. Just watching on TV, I can only imagine what it's like, in the atmosphere in the stadium. I mean, I could hear it through the TV, but dude, it is night and day different. The guys are having fun. I'm watching it literally portray, see it on the screen. These guys are having fun. They're enjoying each other. They're having a great time. And you got to be able to have fun out there, man. It's not, when you run this thing like a military operation, it's just, you can't do that with 17, 18-year-old kids, man. And I think a lot of it has to do with Coach Beamer being under Coach Spurrier and kind of seeing, you got to separate your profession from your family, and you got to have family time. And I think Coach Beamer is doing a great job of that. And I mean, it's, the guys are jumping around, they're high-fiving, they're smashing each other. I mean, it's awesome, man. It's really fun to see, and I think we're on the way back to where we used to be.
Well, I know we're talking about USC over here, but before I let you go, if Alabama does play Georgia in the SEC championship, will the streak of SEC East teams, will that snap? Will the Stephen Garcia streak live on? The last SEC East quarterback to beat Bama.
Dude, that is still insane to me. It honestly it's unbelievable. It's been a decade since an SEC East team has beat them. But yeah, man, I have to say yes. Georgia is an absolute buzzsaw right now, but I will say this. I will never bet against Tom Brady, and I'll never bet against Nick Saban.
I bet
So
against Brady last
take
year.
that for what it may be. I mean,
Hmm.
yeah, well, how'd that work out? I know you're still
Not
pissed off.
great.
He's
Not
down here in
great.
Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay. Hello, hello.
Hey, Patriots are back on top of the East. All is good in New England. He's Stephen Garcia. I'm Mike Yuba. And if, speaking about ifs, if the Gamecocks do get selected for the Gasparilla Bowl, I'm sure Garcia will be down there. So
You know,
Gamecock fans, be ready to see 5 hopping around.
right there, man. Hey, stay back in the nest. You know where you're at.
That's right. The nest. That is where Garcia is, down in Tampa, Florida. Stephen, appreciate you hopping on with us, giving Gamecock fans a great insight, a lot of great insight. And unlike some of these past weeks, there's not a lot of reason to mix in waters. So it's a perfect person to be able to have on the show this week. We'll do it again next week. A Gamecock Central big game coming up this Saturday with USC taking on Clemson, trying to end the streak and also pick up their 7th win on the year.